We'd have to see what happens there. TikTok. So yeah, man. Can Gnabry play centre forward? I thought he's just a winger. I mean, he's played as a false nine. He's played on the left, on the right. He can actually play as a 10. Gnabry would be a perfect signing, but I don't see it coming from anywhere creditable, in my opinion. Obviously, any of the small links that we do see, I think are the bulk of them are because obviously to do with his contract and obviously his past history at Arsenal. But beyond that, I don't think there's any. I just don't think there's any truth in it, really and truly. And to be honest, I mean, Gnabry can play as a false nine all he wants, but I would like the option of doing that and having a proper striker like you see with Bayern Munich. Obviously, well, they might lose both players, but they had Lewandowski. They could, when you've got Lewandowski, by all means, do all your false nine stuff with Gnabry and things like that. I just think we need options because we're not going to sign we ain't got a Son or Salah or these sort of things where you could, or when even a Aubameyang to a degree, where you could sit there in August and say they're probably going to get me 20 or so goals, or there's going to be a certain level of performance from someone like Alexis Sanchez. There's no one in the team that can do that, and to a degree, it comes with the territory because we're doing this young thing, but it's not fair. So again, if you can share out the goals and whatnot, then you're helping everybody else out, man. Saka's the Zinchenko replacement. I like Jesus, but it does worry me that he's similar to Eddie Nketiah. A big physical presence is needed up front to allow for more styles of play. We need a striker who can score headers. Ain't seen a striker at Arsenal head a ball since Giroud. I can't lie. He might be onto something there. No player is bigger than the club. We only want players that want to be here. If we don't compete for the league within 2-3 years, our youngsters will leave. If they leave, they leave. If they stay, they stay, man. The past brings regret. The future brings uncertainty. There's no time like the present. Jose Mourinho rejecting PSG. Bracy. I can't lie. No one is touching my star boy. Jesus under Pep playing with his place on the line. I don't think it'll be the same under Arteta if he's our main striker. Well, there's going to be more scrutiny at Arsenal. Obviously, for obvious reasons, there's going to be more pressure at City, but there's more scrutiny. Gabriel Jesus isn't allowed to, if he was, to coast. There's no hiding behind the fact that Grealish is 100 million and people are looking at that. Raheem Sterling, this and that. Foden's the star man and all these sort of things. Mahrez, this. Bernardo, that. We're looking at you. In fact, Gabriel Jesus probably looks a bit more human. How many times do you see it? People look at Mesut Ozil, Paul Pogba, guys that have been at good teams as dons that can just do it all. They join the teams they've joined, and it's not that they're bad players. It's just you see them in a more human element. It's a team game. They're just one man. Saka leaving would hurt so much. I mean, it is what it is, bro. Like, he's got my blessing to leave, actually, if he wants to. I wanted to stay. One love for that 50k subs loading. Big up DG. He has my blessing to leave if he wanted to. He works with integrity. He's always played with his head up. He's always tried to improve. He's always acted in the right way. It's the game. It is what it is. If someone can offer you stuff that we can't offer you, then it is what it is. It's the same way that maybe Ben White and Ramsdale looked at it and said, Brighton and Bournemouth, and the Lek and Lokonga, you lot can give us something really and truly. So I don't know what all that's about. So I can only deal with what I see. I mean, Saka could leave with the game's the game, bro. I can't begrudge someone for wanting a career short. I can't begrudge someone for wanting to better their life, to play at better systems and whatnot. It's like leaving a job. You're obviously going to join a company that you think is better for your personal development, or they're doing more innovative things and the rest of it. It's crazy. I can't begrudge him, but if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. Just make sure you got replacements. In which, ironically, it could be Gabriel Jesus in it, really. So, yeah, just make sure you've got them plans in place. If you got them plans in place, you can do what you want, man. Twitch gang, one love for you lot. Obviously, making sure you're doing up the polls and whatnot. Appreciate that. Make sure you're joining Twitch Interactive and that. He's saying Saka, we saying DG Saka to Liverpool. Maybe if he does it, innit? Like, I really don't care. Like, obviously, it would hurt to see him go, but the world is gonna actually keep spinning. Like I said, I've seen Henry leave this football club, Vieira leave this football club, and for me, it don't make sense being upset if we're on one thing and he's on another thing. What do you expect? It's almost like Grealish at Villa. If that team is offering you stuff and we're only doing something, there's only some point of being love, and that can only take you so far. Really, it's crazy. Saka will thrive under Pep. Will it take him Will he take him a season? But will he get game time? There'll be 5 subs next season. Obviously, Saka's probably going to play less at City, but I think he'll get substantial game time. You know, he can play on the right, on the left. He can play as a left back. He can actually do a shift in as a right back. You got to remember, there was a time under Mikel Arteta, everyone forgets, but when we was playing behind closed doors, maybe because of a lack of personnel, and I don't think it's something for Saka to do in the future, but do you not remember he actually played as a left-sided centre mid? So I think there's game time for him. You know, he probably have to settle himself, but yeah, man. Us selling our upcoming stars will just repeat the same process all over again, my man DG. Of course, but if you're not, you know, if you're not seeing the project to the end, it's dead. Do you think Liverpool's Mane, Salah, at a time when Firmino was doing his thing and all the others, you think they're going to stay at Liverpool for all of what Klopp's doing if they're not going to win trophies? They might want to stay, but they might, if the other big boys come for them, they might say, you know what, the career's short. Crazy, man. Even if Saka goes, we still have Smith Rowe, Martinelli, and Odegaard. I get Saka as the star boy, but come on now. I mean, all of them can leave. In my head, I've accepted Martinelli's leaving one day. I've accepted Odegaard's getting back to Real Madrid. And I've accepted Saka's not going to be here forever. All that matters is Arsenal's fallback plan and making peas, really and truly. Just, we lost Sessa and Henry, blood. Really, Saka, as much as I love, been on the scene for 2-3 years. Come on, man. In all seriousness, big up DG. Love your content and consistency, Miles. Appreciate that, my guy. If this was the DG Nation badge, we got to 46 subs. I appreciate the support you guys give me, man. One love for all of them ones there. Let's make another timestamp. Saka leave, so what, man? Elite baller. I'm gassing it about elite. Love the guy, but crazy, man. Saka's listen. For me, well, for a lot of people, Saka's our player of the season. No one can say nothing to him, even when he was going on his little droughts. No one can say nothing. He's carried this club on his shoulders, and that's why he has my blessing. Really, if he's not on none of that anymore, then he can cut. Like, big up DG, 85 million for Saka. He's saying, I mean, 80 million got Maguire, bro. I'm trying to shag it. You know, need 100 million. Something unreal. Something that he's not worth. You know. Ben White, when we bought him, was not worth 50 million. Sure as hell, Declan Rice is not worth 150 million. Harry Maguire definitely is not worth 80 million. Any other English player, feel free to insert some examples, people. We need to be zanging. It's brazy. Smash the like button, people. Man said we're under 60. We're doing poor, boy. Saka's got 2 years left, a year plus an extension. Well, a 1 year option, similar to the one United invoked in Paul Pogba's contract this season that just went. Keep your opinions and questions on what not coming, people. Would you sell Saka and buy Tammy and Shamaka? Not necessarily. Kane 150. I haven't seen that, but fair enough. Nunes ain't it. Lukaku situation. Decent goal scorer. Can't hold up a ball. Link up play to save his life. Bit harsh with the link up play, but fair play. All that matters is how we manage the finances. No one is bigger than the club. Gakpo and Gnabry would be good replacements. Sancho costs bags and Saka is worth more. Exactly. And he's taking his place in the England squad. In my opinion, as long as Arsenal finish in the top 5 next year, Saka signs the new deal for another 2 years and we must get in the Champions League in those 2 years. I think Saka if I'm Saka, I'm just genuinely asking, what is the project? How do I tie into it? What sort of players are you looking to bring in? Keep it moving. Saka is not worth more than Sancho. Stop that. I mean, if Sancho costs 70 million and Saka's been a great player for us and Maguire costs 80, Arsenal are entitled to seek a similar fee or more for Sancho, whether you think he's worth it or not. Like, this is the game with English players. That's the point being made and raised. You know, don't get emotional looking at this player and that player and that player and this player. This is the market. Don't want Saka to go, but if the money is pumped back into the squad on top of funds available, I'm not against it. Not if it's the balance. But I mean, selling Saka beyond that would make no sense to me because it's a bit like selling Gabriel, the centre back. Yeah, you'd make money, but you'd have to cut off. You're cutting off your nose to spite your face. What are you talking about? And you paid the money up front. Listen. If Arsenal were to sell Saka right now, they're entitled to ask for a similar fee with Sancho. That's the only point. If you can't take heed of that, then you don't need to argue with your dads. In the same way, if I'm selling a young centre back, or if Joe Bloggs has had a good season and United want to buy him, I'm saying, well, you paid 80 million for Maguire. This guy's done this and that, 50 million for Wan-Bissaka and things like that. These are the things. It's not about what a player is necessarily worth. It's about what you can finesse. Please take your Jadon Sancho or player knickers off, please. You know, we're here to talk football. We're not here to do this other bullshit. Like, if you're on that, please, like, cut, please. Thank you. That's a United fan saying it. That's the only point. Please, if you're doing all this player war stuff, please cut. Because I'm actually too tired to be dealing with it, really and truly. We're here to talk football. We're not here to do my dad's stronger than your dad and all this nonsense. But allow me with it. Thank you. Bless up everyone. Keep him at all costs. Get Saka tied down for 5 years. Pay him his bag. Then make sure City or Liverpool or anyone pays a premium to get him. He's 20. He should be able to invest 2 years in the project. Saka is in that group of tier 2 group of youngsters under Mbappe and Haaland. So getting under 100 million for him would be terrible business on our end. And I can't lie, United fans can't talk to me about overrating players. I think that's fucking cheeky. Tony Martial, Wan-Bissaka's better than Trent. Martial's better than Mbappe. Didn't score a fucking league goal at Sevilla. You know, who else is there? Bailly better than Van Dijk. Maguire better than Van Dijk. De Gea better than certain keepers, certain legends. You know, Luke Shaw, the best left back in the league. My point is not to make this about United fans. It's every now and again I see other fans, even Arsenal fans, when we're talking about other things, try and do this. We're better than you. Every fan talks nonsense. Come on now. Please. We have to get Champions League next season or within the next 3. How dare you, Martial is class. Ballon d'Or clause. I didn't say Martial's not a good player. I didn't say. I remember speaking to Liverpool fans. You can go through my old tweets. They were telling me Gnabry don't get into that Liverpool squad. All right. I'm not saying the contract isn't a thing, Ross. But you can't. Certain men are saying that Arsenal that is nonsense to even suggest that. Stop doing the Arsenal tax belittling things. It's not making sense. Facts. The transfer market is volatile right now. Saka is worth more than Sancho, and if you're a United fanboys, don't see that you lost like your league title dreams last season. The hell. And that's actually probably where Declan Rice has done himself dirty as well, signing that new deal. If I'm honest, just on that topic. But less of all of that, man. Liverpool is broke. That's just a stupid rumor. I mean, half it, Real Madrid said they're broke and suddenly they're finding peas. I mean, these clubs with creative accountants, they can do what they want, man. DG, do you think we'll get Jesus? I don't know, man. Like, right now, that's the talking point, but I don't know. As I always say, we'll talk, we'll speculate, we'll do all of that, but that's about it. Bro, Foden's worth of madness. Foden's worth over 100, really. Like, Foden's worth of madness. Whether you think he's that or not, this is the game. English clubs have too much money. The players carry a premium. This is why we all get zanged by foreign teams. That's why United got zanged for Pogba. That's why, that's why we got zanged for Pepe. That's why certain man got zanged for Ndombele. Every Premier League club is over. That's why Chelsea got zanged for Lukaku. Come on, man. It's brazy, man. It's brazy, man. It's brazy. Tammy or Jesus, oof. I mean, I feel a lot safer up front with Tammy Abraham up front because he's got more of a CV, but I'd rather Jesus. I think Arsenal need to go and buy both. Saliva, I don't know, man. I know a lot of footballers spit, but I don't know if Arsenal be trying to sign Saliva, my guy. Arsenal offers the most for Jesus. Other clubs can't give him the game time. It all depends, game time, project, all these things. I'm not saying Arsenal can't sell him a project, but we're not the only choice for Gab Jesus. I mean, he's been linked with Real Madrid. I can't begrudge any player that goes and says, I want to go Real Madrid. You can't turn that down, but you're not going to be important like that there. Even if you go to Spurs, I hate to say it because it's Spurs, but, Kulusevski looks like he's locked down that right wing spot, sorry. Son and Kane, you're not getting ahead of them. I'm sure, Spurs fans would love having him in their squad, but it's not adapting. He's never going to go to United or Liverpool for obvious reasons, but I'm sure he could get in their squad. Is it necessarily adapting? There's a spot for you at Arsenal. Even if you weren't going to necessarily play up front, he could give us an avenue to rotate with Saka. Saka could go out to the left at times. I want options. I want Martinelli to be able to play up front. I want, Eddie Nketiah's form might be so amazing that Jesus has to go on the right, Saka has to go on the left, or, Gab Jesus has to go on the left, Saka on the right, or Martinelli has to get in this, or Smith Rowe has to get in this, or Smith Rowe has to play 10, so Odegaard has to play as an 8, or one of them has to get dropped out. We need competition. We need different options. Simple as that. It's as simple as that, man. Simple as that. Xhaka staying for one more season. Well, my man Matic has gone to Thingy, innit? Gone to Roma, different sort of player than Xhaka, but left-footed and midfielder, experienced. I'm not going to say they won't take Xhaka, but almost, is there any need for Jose to go out there and grab Granit Xhaka, or we're just going to have to wait until Granit Xhaka is linked with another club? Unpopular opinion, if there's players that need to leave, and I think to a degree that isn't Xhaka. I think Xhaka is one I would sit there and say, well, listen, certain offers come, you're free to go. If you say you want to leave, you can go. I'm not going to force you out, though. I think he would be an okay squad player. I just don't think he should be starting week in, week out, because you're going to see what you see in it: the good, bad, the ugly. Some better periods, some more, some better periods than others. Some really good purple patches, but ultimately, like a lot of these players, just not good enough over the whole 38 game calendar, or what he offers at his best that I might praise isn't quite good enough. It's like Nottingham Forest coming up from the Premier League now, coming into the Premier League, sorry. They're not going to be able to rely on every member of that squad. Some people that help them get promoted at the Championship is going to get dropped. I think that's one thing Arsenal do bad. Sometimes we take players that might be okay as rotation options and squad players. We make them starters, or we do little things like that where ultimately it's a step too hard, too high for them. It's too far for them. They're just not able to do it. It's as simple as that, really. And I think we get gassed that we're a bit too romantic in this as well at Arsenal Football Club, if I'm completely honest. Xhaka has to bust out to Roma. Shamaka or Nunes, who you taking? I'm more like Nunes, if I'm honest. Matic and Xhaka, that midfield has no legs. Charles. Shamaka and Jesus, sign them both, and we're good up front. I think they're capping with us. Tony and Jesus. I'm not really on the Ivan Tony thing now, man. Chelsea didn't really get ripped off for Lukaku. Inter paid 70 million. He won what? He won the leagues. What? Chelsea got bumped because they paid close to 100 million for a position that they need to identify, and within 6 months it was dead. His biggest highlight is winning the club championship, which is great. That's great, but it's ripping Pablo Mari. It's not really doing anything else. It didn't work. Said it weren't going to work. He was not going to work. The logic between buying Lukaku is great, but Chelsea got zanked. What did they get? Lukaku spent the large period on the bench playing. Havertz is not a striker. He can play there, but he's not a striker for real. He's ahead of you. There's been times Werner's looked like there's more of a use for you, and I'm sure there's every other player. What are you talking about? Of course, Chelsea. Obviously, I'm an Arsenal fan. I'll always try and take advantage of Chelsea situations, but they got zanked. The point being, Premier League clubs get zanked. It's not just Arsenal, Tottenham, United, and Chelsea. Certain man paid 50 million for Sigurdsson. Certain man bought Dele Alli. This is a fact. We can't argue with that. He got zanked. What has Lukaku did for them? Lukaku was seen as the icing on top of the cake. Lukaku has had a worse return than Pogba. It don't make sense. It was done before it started. Would you rather one of those in the poll, or Adeyemi? I mean, I would love Kareem Adeyemi, but that ship has sailed, at least for now, innit? DJ, are you excited and nervous about what Jesus is going to say about where he's going, or am I the only one? TJ, I'll be real, not really moved by it. If you want to sign for the club, sign for the club. If not, keep it moving. If I'm completely honest with you, what I'm more excited about or nervous about is once that window closes, I don't want to hear we tried. All right, cool. You tried for Jesus. You tried for Calvert-Lewin. You tried for Darwin Núñez. You tried for this guy. But trying is not good enough. If I try to pass my drive, if I want to be a lorry driver and I try to pass my driving test and I fail, I'm not going to get anywhere, am I? So try and only go so far. And I'm specifically technical director now, really and truly. Have all your targets. I'll even cut you some slack because, as we know, some players that are dead set to move have a change of heart, like we saw with Mbappe at Real Madrid. Certain players, we might be bringing someone in, but it's reliant on somebody leaving. The moving parts don't happen. I'll cut you that slack. I'll even cut the club slack that I know you can't. It's not FIFA. You can't do everything in one window. You can't bring in everybody and sell everyone. But the bulk of the business needs to be done. I don't think I'm asking for too much when I say make some ground over Saliba, Saka, Martinelli's new contracts. At this moment in time, if Eddie's staying, confirm the Eddie thing. Get the obvious ones off the book. Hector Bellerin, doing all he can to really keep it moving. Torreira, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Leno, and there's bare others, really and truly. a decent amount of them off the wage bill or get them gone at the club. Bear the guys that we forgot are actually here. Actually, Pablo Marie, bring in a striker and a centre mid. I would love, 2 strikers, 2 centre mids, a fullback on either side. But I don't think that's going to happen. So if you could bring me a midfielder, a striker, and a push, I would say left back. With Saliba coming back next season, maybe you can run Ben White right back if Tomiyasu's got any problems. I don't think I'm asking for too much. But if that don't get done, I know what time it is next season. You're not going to get closer to top 4 and things like that. You might go on the little purple patch like we've done. You might run it all the way close. But ultimately, in them little crunch matches or them crunch periods throughout the course of the 38-game calendar, we're going to let ourselves down. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and again and being surprised. And for me, I'm with the discount of COVID, I'm on to my club. We need to start the season better because whatever we say, we have, again, what happened at the start of the season, whether it was COVID, not bringing in signings, whatever happened, we need to start the season a lot better. And I don't even know who we're playing. Pardon me. We need to start the season a lot better. The season is starting earlier. So it's, if you can bring in players sooner rather than later, arguably helps you as well, really and truly. There's not too much turnaround. And the gloves needs to be off for these players, for managers that were given new deals, for money that was spent, for technical directors, for owners that commit to this project. I don't think I'm asking for too much. It's a results-driven business. And if you hype up the thing and people get a reputation, then, you've got to be held to some sort of standard. Or am I wrong? Bro, why are you shouting, bro? 2023, but an option until 2024. Saka is 100 mil. You're losing too many players to compete in all comps. Realistically, you need to get 4th. You need to go as far as you can in Europa League. FA Cup, you want to get to the final. I've seen us do this before with a similar bulk of players. League Cup, get to where you're going, really. And half of the players that want to step above, you can't just have players staying. Of course, we're going to have to keep some, but you get the point. How much you saying for Saka? Well, if I'm City, I'm trying to say 60, 70 because of the year/2 years left in his deal. If I'm Arsenal, I'm asking for a deal reaching 100, really and truly. Let him use him as a left back, man. Multifunctional done. Do you think if we don't have a big direct striker with aerial play, teams will find it easier to, or you haven't got any mitigating plan? You're gonna make you're gonna play against yourself, as we see half the time. And when you've got, for me, a number 8 that wants the ball, a winger that wants to dribble, a striker that doesn't necessarily have to be bare strong but can hold up the ball, win fouls, this gets you further up the field. These are outlets. We don't really have outlets like that. Xhaka, too many touches in midfield. El Nene, not on that at all. Partey, hardly ever about. Odegaard has to drop way too deep to get onto the ball consistently. The same goes for Saka. The same goes for who's on the left. These players, anyways, there's not too many players at Arsenal that want to run in behind. They all want the ball to feet. It's no coincidence Martin Odegaard's highlights at Arsenal when we're against the run of play, counter-attacking or putting moves together. He's on the edge of the area or picking out passes, or he's doing the little flicks where Saka and Nketiah aren't finishing them. I want my attacking players to be in dangerous areas. Saka's already getting doubled, tripled up against. So we need to make other movements and other areas on the field to exploit teams. As much as it's about signings, we need to improve our movement, our charts creation, just fucking shooting. There's so much things. Signing players is not just going to make things better, or United would be doing what City are doing. You need to have a project. You need to have a system. We need to improve a lot. I actually think we've improved defensively. If I look at it by statistics, I'm chatting shit to you lot because we've shipped a lot of goals, And again, I don't know how you install resilience because I think you're born with it and you're from a certain makeup, but you've got to be doing all of that as well. Interesting debates, people, with you guys, man. Interesting comments, man. Keep on flowing, people. Keep on flowing. Almost where we need to be in terms of likes. If City can slap 45 million on Gab this with 1 year left, we should get at least 60, 70 for Saka. And there's a couple of others. Mane, they're trying to, Liverpool are saying a mad thing as well. But, at some point, this is the start of the window. At some point, they're going to have to be like, yo, this can't change. It's like us. We tried to play chicken with Partey. Oh, we're not going to pay his release clause. Try and negotiate with us. And then we had to save face and do this thing. Assuming we sign Telemans and play 4-3-3 next season, who is the current Partey backup? Lokonga isn't ready yet. Xhaka's too slow. Maybe on it. Do you see this as an urgency in the window? I more want players whose strengths are breaking the lines. Just because you're a number 8, don't mean you can't defend. I mean, we'd all love Basuma or one of them sort of players in there. I think Lokonga can be the backup. I think El Nene is El Nene. You know, really, he's good for his 4 or 5 games a season. So yeah, man. And I don't see us signing Basuma for what it's worth, but I'll have it. I'm taking that in the squad if it's possible. But yeah, man. Apart from that, I can't say I can see it. Any players you're keen to see next season? Maybe see Martinelli as a striker. I'm all for Project Martinelli striker, but I don't know what we're doing, man. Saka is currently valued at 85 million. Again, I said if I'm City, I'm trying to come in for 60 odd million. If I'm Arsenal, I'm asking for 70, 80, 100 million. Please, by all means, criticize what I say, but please listen to what the fuck I have actually said. DG, do you think Arteta fits this Arsenal job? Well, in terms of the project, clearly they deemed it. That's why they gave him a new deal. DG got brilliant football knowledge. You should be a culture agent, my guy. Real one. I appreciate that. Maybe one day, man. Some teams are just good with sales. United can't sell, and when they do, it's for peanuts or free. Chelsea offloaded Hazard for 80 million with 1 year left on his deal. Surely Saka is not dumb enough to go City after other players that have gone to big teams for big money and flopped. That don't make sense, my guy. By that means you should never try anything in life. You know, it's football. It doesn't work out at a club. You ain't killed no one. You ain't been killed. Sign for another team. What? They're gonna call you a flop? Okay. Life continues. And that's how it should be. Like, you'd rather what if? Because you'd still probably walk away with a lot of knowledge, a wealth of not like going to City. I could not, bro. If Saka's head is turned by City, I'm not gonna begrudge him because you know the imagination of what Pep Guardiola could teach you about your position. Everything you think you know about football in your little 20 years or whatever Saka is, Pep Guardiola would show him, no, I'm going to teach you some other things. And again, thought-provoking stuff as well. The best coaches make their players able to ask questions. You know how many of these players are going to end up being coaches under Pep Guardiola? I mean, I say under, well, Pep's here and these guys are all doing coaching and stuff like you see with company and that. That's probably why I want Telemans at the Emirates, if I'm honest with you, because I think he's done his UEFA A license. So are you a thinkers man in midfield? Are you a bit like Odegaard in that you try and be a coach on the field and all these things? We hear Cedric does that with Ramsdale. I don't know about that one, but yeah, man. Who cares what City come in for? Arsenal don't have to sell. Smart cookie. You're not using common sense. We're talking. You know, if you don't care, exit. I'm not in the mood for nonsense today. I can't cap. I want Dominic Calvert-Lewin as backup / alternative. He can head a ball and is better than Eddie. I mean, if you could do it for a cheaper sort of option, why not? Really? If you can save some bucks, why not? If not, then boy, it's a peak thing. He would get games at City, offers something different to what we have. Ten Hag is not better than Oli. To be honest, I don't really care about Ten Hag or Oli or any of that. It's nothing to do with me. We need to get back to being known for a well-structured defense. Like that's when we was best in terms of attacking. But yeah, it deserted us. You know, old habits, die hard. And as you saw, we towards the end of the season, first half of the season, we was actually improving somewhat defensively. But then, we started creeping back into old habits. And I would say the goal we conceded against Everton, where again, we don't follow runners. Van der Beek, free run, the goal against Leeds. When it was one-sided traffic, one little set piece, they went and pull it in. That kind of sums up everything beyond the obvious, if I'm completely honest with you. So it is what it is regarding that. So yeah, man. Yeah, man. That'll be so real if City bid 80 plus for Saka. Arsenal have to accept. I don't know about have to, but yeah, Saka won't go City, at least not in the near future. True Pepper's an absolute madman. Grealish gonna show these man next year. Crazy, man. It's absolutely brazy. Absolutely brazy. What other questions have we got before we get into this transfer stuff? Let me scroll the way up. I hear you still. What are your opinions on Basuma sending hints to Arsenal doing a come and get me? I mean, he wants to leave, innit? He's got a year left on his deal. He's trying to, I think he's on joining anyone really. I think he'll join Spurs. I think he'll join Arsenal. I think he'll join United. I think if City, not that they will, They go for him. I think he'll join apparently Monaco won him. I think he'll join another team. I just think the cycle's kind of over. And there's a couple of players. I think the Douglas Luiz one's kind of gone quiet. We got to remember it's what's earlier than early, like super early in the transfer market. A lot of things needed to be done. There's a lot of moving parts. You've got internationals, you've got holidays, things taking, especially them bigger transfers, they all takes time. So you're probably going to see things happen. But yeah, I'm watching these 2023 contracts, the Ruizes, Douglas Luiz, Fabian Ruiz, Telemans. I think Ruben Neves is 2023, but he might actually be 2024 people. And there's many, irrelevant to Arsenal, but Mane, Gab Jesus, Salah on paper, Firmino on paper. Not everybody's going to leave, but you get the point. And I'm sure there's a bag of other examples as well, man. Do you think 5 subs will suit pressing teams with squad depth? I think it will suit everyone. DG, would you take Zinchenko and play him in midfield like he does for Ukraine? He'd play a lot. I can't say that if Zinchenko played under me, he's undoubtedly every week going to play in midfield, but he gets suitable appearances in midfield. I like the versatility. For me, he could play in midfield. He's actually seen him play out wide. He gets significant game time in the middle of the park, especially with our injury records. And obviously, when that inevitable Kieran Tierney injury comes, you know what has to happen. Saka leaving Arsenal is like Foden. It's like saying Foden would leave City. Okay, DG, would this be the final straw for you this season if Partey and Tierney get lengthy injuries again? Yeah, no. I'd say yeah, because I want suitable. I mean, you're here all the time. Clearly, I want suitable replacements for when these guys are not here, or guys that can turn them into squad players or rotation options or whatever, But nah, man, this team party to the wheels fall off. Tierney's my guy. Tierney's my guy. Riding to the wheels fall off. Pause. Tierney FC, man. Really. For the amount of clean sheets we got, we didn't really see games out well. That was a good learning. I mean, it was, come on, man, when Ramsdale's pulling off big boy free kick saves against Leicester and that, we didn't shut games out well. We just won, so people shut the hell up about it. But game management, first 10 minutes, last 10 minutes of the first half, last 5 minutes of the first half, starting the games better, dealing with the mentality against Spurs. I think it was 90 seconds into the second half, they bagged that third goal. How many times have we said what is being said at halftime? There's so much mentality issues that I think there's been good things installed mentally in us this season, but there's so much more to be done. And some of it has to be done with Mikel Arteta. A lot of it, the players have to, want to take heed. But you're right. 13 losses. And again, I think we only came from behind once to win. How many times? Not many times. No one can really, because City dominate teams. There's not too many times City probably had to. But last game of the season, they were 2-0 down. I'm sure the 2 games Liverpool have played against Wolves this season, they've had to do that as well. But then we'll put new wheels on, man. Yes, DG, been a while. I know Saka might go from long time. Jan window showed Saka our club is run on a rage looking for a wish. We got money, but run by novices. Saka wants trophies. I think we missed a trick on Bruno Guimaraes. I hope they can redeem themselves and bring in quality players that fit what we're trying to do. Trust, like that game against Newcastle, I'm just looking like you're in the wrong shirt, really. But you snooze, you lose, man. You diver, things happen. They both hold their clubs on their heart. It would take a lot for either of them to leave. That was my point. I mean, do you know Saka? Like, I don't think you're wrong, but I always find these comments funny. Do we know Saka? It's a job. I'm sure the man loves Arsenal. But how many of you have been in relationships? Some of you with boys, that's cool. A lot of you, you've had girlfriends where you might love them, you might like them, you might whatever, but it's not enough. Like, love is not enough. You think Jack Grealish doesn't love Aston Villa? A chance was presented to him. You think Ramsdale, being a Yorkshireman, is not fond of Sheffield United? All Ben White's ever known is Brighton. I'm sure there's many examples among the things. Rooney came to love Man United. He still tried to bust out. Vieira loved Arsenal. He still tried to skate off. Henry still tried to skate off. Tony Adams was on skating off. Half of these old school legends were on busting out. Gerrard tried to go get the Chelsea move a couple of times before the drillers then went to his house and said it's not adapting. Love can only take you so far. I get the point, but it's dead. And for Saka, He's still, as I said earlier, he's still at that wow period where I'm playing for Arsenal. Now that's coming off. I'm an England international. Arguably, I'm getting called up all the time for England, playing week in, week out for Arsenal, and I'm showing it. It's no longer, oh, fucking hell, man. I used to play with these guys on FIFA. No, man, it's part of this thing now. So we'll have to see. That only goes so far. You think if it was Man City of old, like what City used to be, and Foden wasn't presented with something, you think man are not busting out? Come on, man. Come on, man. And at the end of the day, what is love for these football clubs going to get them? Because right now they're in their 20s. There's going to come if they all stay, I'm sure City fans would love Foden to stay till his days are done at footballing level. Saka as well. But at some point, you're going to be 31, 32, 33, 34, 40, 35 or so. And all you're going to get is, thank you, give you a testimonial. Safe. That's it. So you have to, your career is short. It's long, but it's short same time, man. So these lot got to do what they need to do, man. Love is dead, bro. Need to look at this thing calculated. I think right now, the one thing that I think Arsenal has over City for Saka is that he can do no wrong here. The level of scrutiny, there is a lot of scrutiny, but it's not scrutiny like that. Look at what's going on with Grealish, And yeah, but that's going to come naturally. They can stay at their club. I'm not saying Saka isn't going to stay there, but there's going to come a time. Love isn't anything. Do I think Saka's leaving this window? No, but love is dead. Love don't pay bills, bro. Love don't pay bills. Love don't put meals on the table. Love is, bro. Man, if you want to be a one club man like certain man, you're not going to have much to show for yourself. I used to think like that, but them days are done, bro. Career too short for that sentiment. Exactly. I'm not saying Saka's going to bust out now, but it's naive to think that love alone is going to play a part. And to be honest, Saka's a dickhead if you're just looking at this thing with love, which is good for me because it means you're staying at Arsenal, innit? But I don't think Saka's a smart lad and he's got a very good agent. So I don't think that's something they're going to have to worry about really and truly.